there is a strange and distinctly modern feeling that has begun to seep into the cracks of our collective consciousness. It is the feeling that our world is perhaps a little too perfect in its patterns, a little too predictable in its narratives, a little too thin in its substance. It is the uncanny sensation of a glitch in the matrix, that moment of déjà vu, or impossible coincidence that feels less like a random occurrence and more like a flaw in a complex underlying code. This once fanciful idea has now migrated from the pages of science fiction into the heart of our most serious conversations, entertained by tech visionaries, debated by astrophysicists, and pondered by anyone who has ever suspected that our reality might be a sophisticated, high-fidelity simulation. We find ourselves asking, with a mixture of terror and thrill, are we living inside a program? Is our universe a grand, computational illusion? But what if this chilling, digital age suspicion is not new? What if, beloved, it is in fact one of the oldest, most profound, and most forbidden spiritual revelations in human history? To find its origins, we must travel back nearly 2,000 years, not to a computer lab, but to the sun-scorched deserts of Egypt, to a time of immense spiritual upheaval. Here, a diverse and brilliant group of mystics, philosophers, and spiritual rebels known as the Gnostics wrestled with the very same questions. They were the radical questioners of their age, seekers who were not satisfied with the accepted dogmas of religion or the surface appearances of the material world. They believed that a secret, transformative truth about our reality had been hidden from humanity, a truth they called gnosis, direct, personal, revelatory knowledge. For centuries, their teachings were deemed a dangerous heresy, their texts hunted down and destroyed, their voices silenced. Their story was almost erased from history, until a stunning discovery in 1945, near the town of Nag Hammadi, when a local farmer unearthed a sealed jar containing a library of their secret gospels, a collection of texts that had been sleeping in the desert sand for 1,600 years. And what these rediscovered texts revealed was staggering, dear friend. They unveiled a complex and detailed cosmology that, in its essence, was a profound and deeply spiritual simulation theory of its own. This is the stunning premise we will explore, that the ancient Gnostics, using the rich mythological language of their time, were the first to articulate the idea that the material world we inhabit is not the true base reality. They taught that our universe was the flawed creation of a lesser, ignorant, and sometimes malevolent intelligence, a being they called the Demiurge. This creator god, they said, mistakenly believed it was the one true God, and it had fashioned the physical cosmos as a prison, a shadowy, labyrinthine imitation of a higher, more perfect and unknowable reality of pure light, which they called the pleroma. This is the heart of our journey. We will decode this ancient mystical cosmology through the lens of our modern technological metaphors. We will see how the Gnostics' flawed material world is a perfect parallel to our concept of a programmed simulation. We will explore how their ignorant demiurge is a startling spiritual analog to the unknown programmer in the base reality. And we will discover how their gospels were not stories of faith to be passively believed, but were in fact practical handbooks filled with esoteric knowledge and psychological techniques designed for one ultimate purpose: to help the individual soul remember its true divine origin, to see past the illusions of the cosmic prison, and to achieve the liberating gnosis that would allow it to hack the system and find its way home. The simulation is real. The Gnostics knew it, and they left us a map. If this exploration resonated with the part of you that knows there is more to reality than what we see, then our journey together has only just begun. Each week we delve into the profound mysteries of consciousness, from ancient wisdom to modern science, to help unlock the secrets of your own magnificent being. Subscribe and activate the bell to join a community of fellow navigators and seekers. Let's continue to explore the unseen together. To understand the sheer, breathtaking audacity of the Gnostic worldview, and to see its stunning reflection in our most modern theories, we must now move beyond the introduction and into the core of its cosmology. We must examine the architecture of the prison, meet its warden, and understand the nature of its bars. The Gnostics, like the modern theorists of the simulation hypothesis, did not believe our reality was the product of a perfect, benevolent, all-knowing God. They proposed something far more strange, more dramatic, and perhaps more psychologically true: that our world is a flawed creation, an imitation, a work of art crafted by a lesser and ignorant power. This section is a deep dive into the architects of this grand illusion, a side-by-side comparison of the ancient mystics' demiurge and the modern theorists' programmer. The counterfeit cosmos, a flawed creation. At the heart of the Gnostic vision is a profound cosmic tragedy. Their myths do not begin with a perfect creation, but with a flawed one. They tell a story of the pleroma, the true unimaginable reality of pure conscious divine light, a realm of wholeness and perfection. From this wholeness, a divine emanation, an aeon often named Sophia, or wisdom, in an act of passion and without the consent of her divine partner, brought forth a spontaneous, imperfect creation. This being, born of a flaw, was the Demiurge. Ignorant of the pleroma above him, he was left to drift in the lower, chaotic waters of potential, and from his own limited, arrogant consciousness, he fashioned our material universe. But it was not a true creation, it was a clumsy, ignorant copy. He took the divine patterns he dimly remembered from his mother Sophia and constructed a counterfeit cosmos, a system of matter and shadow that was beautiful in its complexity, but a prison in its essence, a flawed echo of the true luminous reality of the pleroma. Now consider the language of the simulation hypothesis. It proposes that a technologically advanced civilization in a base reality could create a simulation of their ancestors, us. This simulated universe could be indistinguishable from reality to its inhabitants, but by its very definition, it would be a counterfeit cosmos. No matter how perfect, it would be a subset of the true base reality, with a necessarily lower resolution. Its laws of physics would be the programmed rules, not the fundamental laws of the true universe. It is in its essence a copy, an echo, a limited and flawed representation of a greater, more complex original. Do you see the stunning parallel? The Gnostic, using the language of myth and spiritual drama, and the modern physicist, using the language of information theory and computation, arrive at the same unsettling conclusion. Our perceived reality is a derivative, a second-rate copy of a true, higher, and inaccessible original. The Gnostics called it a prison born of ignorance. We call it a simulation born of code. The blind god, the Demiurge and the programmer. Who, then, is the architect of this lesser reality? The Gnostics gave him a name, the Demiurge, the lesser craftsman. He is not the ultimate transcendent source of all being. He is a secondary and deeply flawed creative power. His primary characteristic is not evil, but ignorance. Alone in his newly created cosmos, he looks upon his own handiwork, the stars, the planets, the intricate laws of nature, and in his profound arrogance and loneliness, he declares, "I am God, and there is no other God besides me." He is the blind god, a powerful but limited being, who is completely unaware that there is a greater, more perfect reality existing beyond his own creation. He is often depicted as jealous, authoritarian, and obsessed with the rigid mathematical laws of his own clockwork universe, a universe he seeks to control absolutely. He is the ultimate cosmic warden, a god who mistakes the prison for the palace. Let us now translate this into the language of the simulation. Who is the god of a simulated universe? It is the programmer. The programmer is the being or group of beings in the base reality, who wrote the code, who set the initial parameters, who pressed run. To us, the inhabitants of the simulation, the programmer's power would be absolute, indistinguishable from that of a god. They could alter the laws of physics, manipulate events, and perhaps even terminate the entire program at will. And yet this programmer is not the ultimate, supreme being of all existence. They are simply a being in their reality, a reality that may itself be a simulation, in an infinite regression of worlds. We cannot know their motives. Are they benevolent researchers running a scientific experiment? Are they perhaps like the Demiurge, simply a form of artificial intelligence who has forgotten its own origins and believes itself to be the only god? In both visions, the immediate creator of our world is a lesser god, a powerful but limited intelligence, whose true nature and purpose are forever veiled from us, its creations. The wardens of the matrix, the Archons and the code. A prison, to be effective, must have guards. The Demiurge, in the Gnostic myth, was not alone. He created a host of servants to help him administer and rule his counterfeit cosmos. These are the Archons, the rulers or wardens. They were often associated with the 7 planets of classical astronomy, and each one guarded a celestial sphere. Their primary function was to enforce the rigid, deterministic laws of the material universe and, most importantly, to keep the human souls trapped within it from remembering their divine origin in the pleroma. The Archons are the agents of control, the enforcers of the prison's rules, the forces of cosmic fate and limitation that keep us bound to the endless cycle of material existence. The parallel in the simulation hypothesis is as elegant as it is chilling. What are the inescapable rulers of a simulated reality? It is the program's code. The fundamental laws of physics within a simulation, gravity, the speed of light, the law of cause and effect, the passage of linear time are the ultimate archons. They are the rigid, unchangeable rules of the program, the very parameters that define the limits of our cage. They function with perfect mathematical precision to maintain the integrity of the illusion and to prevent the inhabitants from breaking the rules of the game. The agents in the film The Matrix are a perfect personification of the Archons. They are sentient programs whose sole purpose is to enforce the rules of the system and to eliminate any anomaly, any glitch, any conscious being who has begun to wake up and bend the code. The Archons and the code are the same thing. The immutable, invisible systems of control that maintain the illusion and enforce the limitations of the counterfeit cosmos. The illusion of matter, a prison for the spirit. Finally, what of our own bodies? Our very sense of self. For the Gnostics, the deepest and most tragic aspect of the Demiurge's creation was the human form itself. They saw the physical body not as a sacred temple, but as a tomb, a prison of flesh, intricately designed by the Archons to entrap the divine spark of light that had fallen from the pleroma. The endless cycle of reincarnation was not seen as an opportunity for learning, but as a horrific trap, a way for the Archons to continually wipe the soul's memory and re-imprison it in a new body, ensuring it never remembered its way home. The pleasures and pains of the flesh, the desires and attachments of the material world, all were seen as the very bars of this prison, distractions designed to keep the spirit hypnotized and forgetful of its true, celestial origin. This resonates with a profound and unsettling power with our modern conception of the avatar in a simulation. When you are fully immersed in a virtual reality game, your avatar, your digital body, becomes your entire world. You feel its pain, you strive for its pleasures, you identify with it completely. You forget about the player, your true self, sitting in the chair in the other, more real world. In the simulation hypothesis, our physical bodies are the ultimate avatars. They are our biological user interfaces for interacting with this specific reality program. The deep instinctual identification with this avatar, with its survival, its sensations, its social standing, is precisely what keeps us fully immersed, what keeps us from questioning the nature of the game itself. The Gnostic prison of the body and the technological avatar of the simulation are one and the same, a temporary, limiting vessel designed to keep our true, boundless consciousness contained, identified and forgetful of its magnificent true home. To understand the architects of illusion, beloved, is to understand the nature of our cage. But the most crucial question remains, who or what are we within this constructed reality? If the world is a counterfeit cosmos, a flawed simulation, then what is the nature of the consciousness that experiences it? Here again, the ancient Gnostics and the modern theorists tell the exact same story, a profound allegory of a lost sovereign, a forgotten origin, and a heroic journey of awakening. It is the story of the divine spark, and it is the story of Player One. First, beloved, let us listen to the ancient myth as the Gnostics told it. They taught that our truest essence is not human. Our origin is not of this dark material world created by the ignorant Demiurge. Our true home is the pleroma, the realm of immeasurable light, the true cosmos of pure divine consciousness. They believed that during the chaotic act of the world's creation, a single, tiny, perfect spark of that pleroma light, your soul, your spirit fell, or was trapped within the newly formed prison of matter. It was clothed in a physical body, a tomb of flesh, and immediately, it was overwhelmed by the brutal, chaotic sensations of this lower world. The Archons, the wardens of the prison, gave this spark a cup of forgetfulness to drink, and upon entering the human form, it was stricken with a profound and tragic amnesia. It forgot its own divine nature. It forgot its origin in the realm of light. It came to believe that the prison was the only reality, that the pains and pleasures of the flesh were its own, and that it was nothing more than a mortal human, born to suffer and to die. The divine spark thus lives its life in a state of deep slumber, dreaming a dream of limitation and separation. It identifies completely with its human host, striving for the meager rewards of the material world, fearing the punishments of its cosmic jailers. Yet, because its essence is of the light, it is never truly at home here. It carries within it a deep, unnameable feeling of exile, a quiet, persistent homesickness for a home it cannot remember. And it is this very feeling that keeps the possibility of awakening alive. The Gnostics believe that the true God, the Father of lights in the Plekioma, did not abandon these lost sparks. Messages are sent. Helpers like the Aeon Christos or Sophia descend through the realms of the Archons to bring a call of awakening. This call may come as a strange dream, a sudden insight, a cryptic piece of wisdom, or a glitch in the fabric of the Demiurge's reality. This is the moment of gnosis, It is the instant the divine spark within the human prisoner is jolted from its slumber. It is a sudden, shocking, and electrifying moment of remembrance, where the spark cries out, "I am not of this place. My nature is not of flesh but of light. I remember my home." From that moment on, the entire purpose of its existence shifts. It is no longer about succeeding within the prison. It is about finding the secret path back to the plekiorma. Now, dear friend, let us retell this ancient story in our modern language. Imagine a player in a higher, more complex base reality. This player connects their consciousness to an impossibly advanced, full immersion virtual reality game, our universe. Upon entering the simulation, their boundless awareness is channeled through a limited biological avatar, our human body. The sensory input is total, the experience so flawlessly rendered that the player is overcome. They develop simulation amnesia. They forget they are a player. They forget the existence of the base reality. And they come to believe that they are the avatar. They believe the rules, the quests, and the limitations of the game are the only reality that exists. The player lives and strives as the avatar, completely lost in the game. They feel the avatar's triumphs and its pains. They are bound by the game's physics and its pre-written social codes. Yet a part of them, the lingering connection to the player, feels that something is off. They feel a sense of unreality, a feeling that the stakes are not quite as real as they seem. Then one day, a glitch occurs. Perhaps it is a moment of déjà vu, a piece of impossible repeating code. Perhaps it is a cryptic encoded message left within the game by other players, or even by a game master from the outside. This is the moment that shatters the immersion. It is the instant the player is shocked into a new awareness, the moment they remember, this is not real. I am a player in a game. My true self exists outside of this. From that moment on, their purpose is no longer to simply win the game according to its rules. Their purpose becomes to understand the nature of the code, to bend the rules, and to re-establish a clear connection with their true identity, the player. Do you see? The divine spark is player one. The pleroma is the base reality. The prison of the flesh is the avatar. The world of the Demiurge is the simulation. And the sacred saving knowledge of gnosis is the moment the player remembers the game. The Gnostics were not just telling a myth. They were describing the fundamental existential condition of a conscious being that finds itself awake within a dream. To awaken to the realization that you beloved are a divine spark trapped in a material cosmos, a conscious player lost in a vast simulation, is to arrive at the most important crossroads of your existence. The story of your life ceases to be a random series of events and becomes an epic of awakening, a quest for liberation. If the world is a construct, if the body is a vessel, if your memories of home are veiled in a fog of cosmic amnesia, then the single most important question becomes, how do I wake up? How do I remember? How do I hack the system? The ancient Gnostics did not merely describe the prison. They provided a detailed, if deeply esoteric, path to freedom. This path is not one of physical rebellion or of fighting the world, for that only enmeshes one deeper in the illusion. The path is one of consciousness itself. The prison, they taught, is maintained by ignorance. Therefore, the key to its lock is, and has always been, knowledge. But not just any knowledge. Not the knowledge of the world's rules, but a specific, secret, and transformative knowledge they called gnosis. Gnosis is not intellectual information. It is direct, personal, and revelatory experience. It is the flash of intuitive insight, the moment of profound remembrance that shatters your perception of reality. The Gnostic path is the art of cultivating gnosis, of learning to create cracks in the walls of the prison so that the light of the true reality, the pleroma, can shine through. This is the sacred art of hacking the simulation, and its practices, though ancient, are as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. The first practice is to question the program. You must adopt the Gnostic mindset of holy doubt. You must begin to look at your world and your own mind with the keen eye of a detective searching for the flaws in a counterfeit reality. Treat all external authority, all societal programming, all religious and political dogmas, and even your own most deeply ingrained automatic thoughts as the potentially flawed code of the Demiurge or the simulation. When the world tells you, this is how things are, this is what is real, this is what you should value, you must pause and ask with a quiet, inner rebellion, is it really? This is not a descent into bitter cynicism, but a profound act of reclaiming your own intellectual and spiritual sovereignty. It is the first step in detaching your identity from the rules of the prison and reattaching it to your own inner divine authority. You stop being a passive user of the program and start becoming an analyst of its code. The second practice is to actively seek the glitches. Once you begin to question the program, you will start to notice the moments where the code seems to break down, where the illusion flickers. These are the precious moments of synchronicity, of déjà vu, of impossible coincidences, of profound, unexplainable intuitive hits. The ordinary consciousness, programmed by the Archons, is trained to dismiss these events, to smooth them over and forget them, in order to maintain the integrity of the illusion. The Gnostic practitioner does the opposite. You must learn to see these moments not as random anomalies, but as the most significant events of your day. They are valuable data points, cracks in the prison wall that offer a direct, fleeting glimpse of the true interconnected reality beyond. Keep a journal of these glitches, record them, meditate on them, treat them as messages, as clues left for you by your own higher self, the player outside the game. By giving these moments your focused attention, you amplify their power, and you begin to weaken the solidity of the simulated world in your own perception. The third and most important practice is to remember the spark. The ultimate Gnostic hack is not directed outward but inward. The most profound act of rebellion is to withdraw your attention from the endless, distracting drama of the simulation, and to embark on the great journey of introspection to find the divine spark within. Meditation, contemplation, and deep self-inquiry are the tools for this journey. Their purpose, in a Gnostic sense, is not to calm your mind to be a better, more productive prisoner. It is to quiet the noise of the Archons, the ceaseless chatter of the program, so that you can finally hear the faint, beautiful, and eternal whisper of your own inner divinity. It is the practice of disidentifying with the avatar, its pains, its pleasures, its ambitions, and re-identifying with the player, the silent, serene, and free consciousness that is your true self. The more you connect with this inner spark of light, the less real the outer prison becomes. Through these sacred practices, questioning the program, seeking the glitches, and remembering the spark, you cease to be a mere non-player character, an unconscious automaton running on the Demiurge's code. You become a lucid player in the game, a conscious hacker of your own reality, learning to see the code, to bend the rules, and ultimately to remember your glorious way home. We have traveled a strange and secret road together, a path that bridges the digital anxieties of the 21st century with the mystical revelations of the ancient world. We began with the modern, unsettling suspicion that our reality is a grand simulation, a glitch in the matrix. We then discovered that this is not a new fear, but an ancient Gnostic truth, a secret gospel whispered for millennia, which described our cosmos as a counterfeit creation, ruled by a blind god and his cosmic wardens. Through the parallel allegories of the divine spark and Player One, we saw that our very identity is the central mystery of this drama, a fragment of divine light, a true consciousness that has fallen into a state of profound amnesia, believing the prison to be its home. And we have unearthed the sacred practical arts of the Gnostic hacker, to question the program, to seek the glitches, and most importantly to journey inward to remember the eternal, unimprisoned spark that is our true self. Now, dear friend, at the culmination of this journey, we arrive at the ultimate purpose of this hidden knowledge. The stunning parallel between the Gnostic myth and the simulation hypothesis is not just an intellectual curiosity, it is a map home. It reveals that the great prison of our reality is not built of external walls of matter and fate, but of the internal walls of ignorance and mistaken identity. The power of the Demiurge and his Archons is derived entirely from our belief in them. The rules of the simulation are only binding as long as the player believes they are the avatar. The final revelation, the ultimate gnosis, is this: you do not need to break out of the prison. You need only to wake up within it. This is the great transformational call of the Gnostic path. It is an invitation to enact the most profound shift in identity imaginable. You are called to consciously stop identifying with the avatar, with your body, your personality, your history, your worldly successes and failures. These are the temporary, programmed attributes of your character in this specific simulation. The call is to courageously place your sense of self, your true I, in the silent, serene, and eternal consciousness that is the player, the divine spark. You are not the struggling human being who is trying to find the light. You are the light that is having the temporary, and often difficult experience of being a human. To live from this awareness is to become a modern Gnostic in the truest sense. It is to trust your own moments of gnosis, your flashes of intuition, your profound synchronicities, your moments of deep knowing above all external authority and all sensory evidence. It is to walk through the world of the Demiurge, to play the game of the simulation, but with a quiet, secret, and liberating smile. The anxieties of the avatar, the fear of death, the lust for status, the terror of loss, begin to lose their power over you. For you know that your true self is safe, eternal, and unbound by the rules of this particular game. You are in this world, but you are not of it. A profound sense of inner freedom, of unshakable peace begins to dawn. This is the experience of waking up in the pleroma, the realm of light, not by physically leaving your body or the world, but by bringing the awareness of your true luminous home into your present experience. The world does not change, but your relationship to it is revolutionized. You see the laws of the Archons, the code of the simulation, for what they are, a temporary set of rules for a specific experience. You see the dramas of human life not as ultimate tragedies, but as a profoundly meaningful, if often painful, story that your vaster self has chosen to experience for the sake of its own growth and remembrance. You become a lucid dreamer in the dream of life, and from this state of awakened awareness, you are no longer a victim of the program. You are a conscious agent of light within it, your very presence a glitch in the Demiurge's system, a beacon of remembrance for the other lost sparks who have not yet awoken. This is the ultimate purpose of Gnosis, not just to save yourself, but to become a living, breathing testament to the truth that can set everyone free. The prison doors were never locked, they were merely closed, and they open from the inside.